this one. And so we've had the brain presentation, nutrition and whatnot. Charles does a very nice one on balance. I thought he was referring to golf swing, balance in your golf swing, so I jumped on it right away, but that's not what we're going to do. Or maybe it has some ancillary benefit for that. Maybe. So we're going to go ahead and ask Charles to come on up, and there'll be plenty of time for a Q&A on that. And anybody wants to talk to any of the officers or myself after the meeting, we'll be around for a while, so stick around and we can chat on whatever issue you've got. And so we've got Charles Hall. I'll give you that right there.
Thank you so much.
Okay. I'll get out of your way here. Okay, there you go.
All right, anybody had a power outage last night? A handful of people? All right, hopefully you did all right. It's good to be back. Who was here for my previous 3 presentations? Okay, all right, so some of you don't know who I am. I'll do a quick intro. And I was told that I need to stay at this podium, or lectern. I think it's technically a lectern, right? All right. Okay, so balance. I want to get started with some deep breaths. I like to incorporate this because, as you might remember, oxygen is the #1 fuel for the brain. So I want to make sure your brains are awake. And coffee does a great job of giving you a lot of caffeine and adrenaline, but let's get that oxygen supply to the brain as well. All right, so if you could just give yourself a little bit of room, make sure you don't have anything in your hand, find a nice solid place on your chair. I'm going to put this mic back in its seat here. Okay, we're going to just do 5. So I'll just demonstrate really quick. You can go up like this, or you can just go like this. And then exhale going down like this. And then of course if you go up like this, just exhale going down like this. If there's someone that you have a grudge against, go ahead and just smack them in the face. Otherwise, be careful. But let's be peaceful, so no smacking in the face, please. Thank you. All right, so first one, here we go. Inhale. And let's make this a little more fun. Inhale. Now chuckle. All right, number 3, here we go. Inhale. Now chuckle. Number 4, here we go. Inhale. Now chuckle. All right, last one. Here we go. Inhale. Now a hearty laugh. Very good. Excellent work. Okay, I hope that's lightened the mood a little bit and have gotten you a little more awake. I don't know. Okay, so we got our deep breaths done. Okay, so can everyone see that picture? How does it make you feel? Excited? You want to climb a building? So yes, this guy obviously has some talent with respect to balance, or someone out there has some talent with respect to Photoshop editing. Either way, let's assume that it's a real photograph. I assume it's a real one. But I'm not expecting any of you to do something like this. We're going to go over more of the fundamentals. But there are people out there who love to, quote unquote, push themselves to the edge. Ha 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 ha. All right, but let's have some fun. I want to tell you a joke. I hope you laugh. If you want, I can let you know when to laugh. All right. Why should balance be your best friend?
So you won't fall and break your body.
So you won't fall and break your body? It didn't sound like a punchline to me. Because it never lets you down. For those of you who didn't laugh, you can laugh right now. Okay, all right. That's my joke for the beginning. I have a joke for the end. So we'll see if you appreciate that one. All right. So here's our agenda today. Just like any good trip that you take, you want a roadmap. and I always love to include an agenda so that you guys know what we're doing today. And this is less of a brain-heavy presentation and more about some practicalities with balance and some information, and more about the practicality than the information. But I still wanted to sneak in a little exercise, and it's relevant to the topic today, but I wanted you guys to engage with each other, a socialization exercise, just to get us more warmed up to the topic today. All right, and before that, I'll tell you a little about myself, but after the Ask to Remember exercise, I'll do the presentation / discussion on balance, and then we'll go back to the second part of the exercise, and then I got a process that I want to share with you on how best to apply the information, my information or any information that you get. Who here has a shortage of information in their life? Anyone have a shortage? Okay, one person. All right, maybe you forgot. No, it's okay. I'm just kidding. So we all have plenty of information, and I'm really going to do my best to make it accessible to you by giving you a formula in which you can apply it, and a really simple one. And that's my goal section of our presentation today. And I'll open the floor up to you for any questions that you may have. If you are so inspired and motivated and excited to ask a question, you can stand up out of your chair and show me your excellent balance, and then raise your hand, and I will call on you. You don't have to stand up out of your chair. You can just raise your hand in the middle of my presentation, it's fine, and ask a question. But we will have a specific time for question and answers at the end. Okay? Any questions for the agenda? All right. Okay, moving on. So who am I? That's me. It's my headshot. I did my best to look pretty. I come from this organization, Whole Brain Health. I co-founded it with my best friend. He's a chiropractor, and he practices in Michigan now, and he helps run it over there. And I originally wanted to do this organization because I wanted to help myself be as smart and as powerful as I can with respect to my body. This is my background. I come from a nursing background, and I have a lot of experience running the organization and also facilitating groups. Public speaking groups, or just groups with respect to helping people apply brain healthy information into their lifestyle. I'd say I have about 500 hours of doing group facilitation, and 700. It keeps increasing because I do a lot of presentations. But anyways, I have a lot of experience helping others and understanding information and applying it in ways that are motivating, mainly fun. That's my favorite motivation. That's my best friend there, Steve, Dr. Steve Kane. These are some of the people that work with us, mainly in the neuropsychology departments and neurology departments. These two are from Stanford, and they help with some of our content and finding the information that I present. And this is two other people that we work with. The person on the right there, she's more in the fitness and wellness area as far as instruction and information. Anyways, so those are the people, a part of our organization, and I would love to turn it over to you guys now, and I would want you to find a partner. If you're at an odd-numbered table, yes, question back there?
What's the difference between, or is it just the new terminology of the what does it say, neuropsychologist?
So neuropsychiatrist is an
Neuropsychiatrist as opposed to just psychiatrist. Is there a difference?
So they just have an emphasis on the brain, more so the anatomy and the biochemistry. So a psychiatrist, they probably focus on the psychology, and they can also prescribe medications as a doctor, and a doctor is more the whole body.
More like research for the neuro.
Sure. So Dr. Ashford, who was a neuropsychiatrist, he focused more on the research area. He did some of the pioneering research in Alzheimer's in the 70s and onward. So, surgical, is that what you said? He didn't do any surgery. No, he's mainly the research. Okay, all right. Okay, another question.
I noticed near the bottom, nutrition, and I'm wondering, do you have
water doesn't count as a food, but it's probably the most important thing. So water, but if we're not talking about water, I would say wild Atlantic salmon, avocados, organic, extra virgin olive oil, and there's so many. What are my top 5? I would say go for some raw sprouted nuts. Raw and sprouted nuts. Those are the gold standard, or just nuts that aren't cooked, nuts that aren't roasted, so raw nuts. And then number 5, I would say you would want something with a lot of color in it. So greens, green leafy vegetables. So pick up some greens, anything that's in the produce section that's green, and then wild sockeye salmon, organic, avocados, and then sprouted raw organic nuts, or just raw nuts, and olive oil. And blueberries, if you want to throw in some blueberries, go ahead, go for it, have a party. Okay, any questions before I move on? Okay, all right, so has everyone got a partner? Who does not have a partner? Raise your hand. Okay. If you have an odd number, it's okay. You guys are all partnered up. Great. All right, so go ahead and ask each other these questions in your partner, and remember your partner's answer. I'm bringing the questions back at the end, and I'm testing your memory here, okay? All right, does anybody need more time? Raise your hand. All right, one person needs, all right, give you 1 or 2 more minutes here. All right. Anybody need any more time? Okay. All right. I don't see any hands going up for more time. Okay. Very good. Do your best to remember your partner's answers. Okay. So now for the presentation / discussion. And I like talking. I like telling people information, but it's really a good sign for people who are engaged in the presentation when there's a discussion going on. That's why I always like to have a presentation / discussion. So I'm going to ask you guys questions, and I want to know what you know. And that helps me better navigate the presentation, and I can give you information that's more relevant to you. So what functions of the body are connected to balance? Any legs? Yeah, that's a good guess. So functions of the body. I don't know if a leg is a function of the body. So someone's pointing up here. What are you trying to say? Sinuses? Oh, okay. Okay. Any other guesses? You can raise your hand. I'll call on you. Inner ear. Yes. Very good. I'll give you a chocolate if you know the other name for inner ear.
How about your blood circulation system?
Well, the other name for the inner ear, there's another name for the mechanism of the inner ear. Starts with a V. I'll give you a chocolate if you... Starts with a V as in Victor. No. Oh, come on. I made this chocolate myself. It's in the shape of a brain. Oh, I love it. Vestibular system. Excellent. All right, someone gets a chocolate. Round of applause. Excellent. Okay, so Lisa, congratulations, you got a chocolate, and it's the vestibular system. Yes, very good. All right, so, but I'm going to go to these general functions first before I get into it, and the vestibular system's involved in the second one here. So first of all, we've got sensory awareness. Our sight is the main one. And equilibrium, which is the vestibular system in the inner ear, which determines are we tilted this way, are we upside down, etc. And then our coordination, are we swinging our right arm forward as our left foot steps forward or the other way, etc. I'm going to focus on equilibrium as we go forward, and I have another question for you. What is the definition of equilibrium? What do you know? What do you think? Besides the synonym for equilibrium, what is the definition for equilibrium? I mean, you're right. It is balance, but any distinguishing character? Synchronization. Okay, I like that. I like that word.
If you have equilibrium, it is within your range of being able to control. In other words, you're at equilibrium because you're not falling over and you have enough muscular and balance and flexibility that any small adjustment you can make to maintain that balance.
What was your name?
Chuck.
John?
Chuck.
Chuck? Oh, okay. Charles. All right, Chuck. So I loved where that definition was going, but then you got balance in there. So I love it when people define a word without using the word itself. But very good. I liked it. So we're having all these mechanisms working together so you have control. You have a sense of control in your gait or in your stature. Okay, so this is a state of calm or a state of physical balance. I know I just violated my own rule by using the word balance in my definition of equilibrium, but that's really what it is. It's a state of physical balance, and that's as simple as we're going to make it. So let's go here. I want to see what you guys think as far as this. What are the benefits of a healthy equilibrium or balance in the body? So what do you get out of having this control, as Chuck said, in your body? Don't fall down. Anyone want to raise their hand and make a few suggestions? Chuck?
Well, you feel the freedom then to move and do things because you're not worried about what might happen if you lose that equilibrium.
So lower stress, more confidence, and freedom. I like those ones. Back there?
Coordination.
Coordination, yep. Okay. Maybe a little juicier benefit, like coordination sounds kind of stale.
Better quality of life.
Better quality of life, okay, all right, yep. More or less, that's it. So prevent falls. Obviously, that's the number one benefit. Number 2, lower stress. You're not worried about falling. And number 3, you get to explore more nature. That's a quality of life element there. And nature usually has a lot of unstable ground. And tolerate boat rides. Anyone like to go sailing? Anyone want to visit Alcatraz again or for the first time? It's not the most stable boat ride, but yeah, it's not that bad either. Either way, there's many other benefits. These are just some of the ones that I identified for us today. So let's go into a little more of the anatomy. I'm not going to go into this too deeply, but just to make you aware. There's our vestibular system, Lisa, very good. And then of course our eyes, and our proprioception, and our cerebellum. Just a quick, see if you guys can guess. Among these 4, the eyes, the inner ear, the proprioception, and cerebellum, which one has the highest percentage of relevance to your balance? Any guess? Want to raise your hand and guess? Cerebellum? Okay, that's the back of the brain back here. No. No. You only got 2, so it's proprioception. So what is proprioception? It's your place in space, and that's 70% of your balance. And it makes sense because your proprioception is effectively all of the sensors, mainly the nervous system and the pressure sensors in your body that are telling you where your body is in space.
So, question.
Yes.
If you're blind, how does that affect the ranking of those?
So the thing is, the eyes, it's only like 10 to 15% of your balance. It's still involved, but it's not that huge of a percentage. It's mainly the proprioception. So if you lose sensation, peripheral neuropathy, which is the degradation of nerve endings in your body, that's when you would start having your balance compromised. Because the nerve endings are not giving your brain feedback as to where your body is in place and space. So, yes?
If a blind person enters a space they're not familiar with,
Mm-hmm.
then wouldn't they lose a lot of that proprioception?
Well, yes. Obviously, if you're familiar with the space, you can navigate it because you have an internal map, whether you've developed it before you lost your sight or during your blindness. But your proprioception, obviously, you wouldn't know where something is placed. I think, but you would still know, like, where, if you're, like, kind of tilted, like, you would know the angle of the floor, because your vestibular system would know, and also the pressure in one leg is a little bit more than the other, because you've got more weight on the right if it's angled towards down to the right. So you still got all the intelligence of your nervous system and your muscles and your skeleton. So. Back here.
Speaking of eyes, I noticed if it's totally dark and I'm walking, I feel a lot more comfortable with my eyes open than closed, even though I can't see anything. Is there some relationship there with your eyes?
If it's pitch black, that's what you're seeing. It's pitch black. If there's some light there, it's a little helpful. It's not like a deer, and you see that reflection, that weird reflection. They've got this sheen in the back of their eyeball, which refracts light more, so they can see more in the dark. We don't really have that. We're not like cats. As much as some of us would love to be a cat, right? I love cats so much. We're going to move on from this because I want to get to more of the practicality as far as balance and how you deal with a fall. Okay, so the eyes there, it goes to the back of the brain. This is there's a circle around that snail-like structure, the vestibular system. This is just indicating to you that the proprioception is the nervous system throughout the muscles and the skeleton of the body, and that gives the brain awareness of where it is in space. And okay, so fall risk. We have a higher concern as you get older because the nervous system tends to not work as well, and it is not as sensitive to these changes in the information from a different environment, a different pressure on one leg or the other. And then sometimes medication can increase the risk. Some people might get their blood pressure a little too low, so they get dizzy as they stand up. And some people, and it can be mitigated with balance exercises. So obviously, I think all of you understand, and even people who are not in the medical profession understand that fall risk is a real thing. It's a concern. So I'm not going to raise your awareness about fall risk quite so much. Just a few more facts. Serious injury occurs about 20% of the time for people over 65 who fall. And there's about 30 million people over 65 a year who do fall. And then more women than men fall. So it has to do generally, because men push them over. No, I'm just kidding. So they're exposed to more risk, more fall risk. So an anatomical explanation is, I don't know about the cultural explanation, but men typically, because of being a man, have better spatial awareness. They have more developed spatial awareness. I'll leave it up to you to determine why, but that's what the textbook would say. All right, so some exercises just to tell you really quick. You can sit to stand. Practice doing that consciously, not unconsciously. A lot of people just get out of a chair like, oh, I know I can stand up. I don't need to pay attention to this. But if you pay attention to yourself standing up, you will become better at your standing up and going from a sitting to a standing, and that gives your brain more awareness and more memory on how to account for changes in your balance. So there's rapid side step, twist, neck turns. This is probably the simplest one you can do to improve your balance. Just turn your neck from side to side, and you are challenging the vestibular system. Anybody here like dancing? Anybody here like to dance and go out dancing? All right, don't worry about any of these exercises because dancing takes care of all of that. Dancing is extraordinarily good at developing your balance. Okay, so handling a fall. I want to know what you guys know. And I'm not talking about autumn. I'm talking about you're standing up and you find yourself on the floor and something hurts. That's what I'm talking about. Anyone here, what do you know about handling a fall? Back there?
Put your hands out, protect yourself if you know you're falling.
If you know you're falling, use your hands to brace your fall. Okay? All right, and you can guess if you want. You don't have to know.
I just let my legs collapse and I just go straight down.
Okay, all right. Let your legs collapse and go straight down.
Protect the head.
Protect the head, okay. Chuck?
If you're carrying something, let go of it.
If you're carrying something, let go of it.
You want to hang on to that.
Chuck, are you a Buddhist?
Protect it, but you don't protect your more part.
So Chuck is sharing with us a very good Buddhist philosophy. Don't have any attachments to material things. If you're carrying something and you know you're going to fall, just let it go. Okay. So let's discuss, before I tell you about how to handle a fall, where do they happen? What do you think? In the home or outside? Yes, mostly in the home. How about this? Are they mostly injury when you fall? Well, this is kind of a quiz question because I already told you. Are they injury or mostly non-injury? Yes, so about 20% are injury. When you go take a fall, if you're 65 or older in the home, 80% are non-injury, 20% are injury. But when you do fall and you get an injury, it is a serious injury. So there's some numbers there. In-home is about 80%, outside 20%. Injury 20 to 30% of the time, and it tends to be a serious injury. Non-injury is 70%. So. All right, so causes, mainly floors, slick floors, dim lighting. So if we had the power outage last night, that increased the risk for falls a lot because you could not see. Rugs or carpets that are not properly secured. Reaching for storage areas such as cupboards, stairs. It's Christmas time coming up soon, and where do you put your Christmas decorations? In the attic, up very high. So you're reaching for those Christmas decorations, and you take a fall. There's someone I know who I just got to know recently. He's a retired psychologist, a psychiatrist. He's a retired psychiatrist, not neuropsychiatrist, but psychiatrist. And he has a shed in the back, and he put this one singular board on this flimsy roofing material so that he could stabilize himself. And he had this rickety ladder that he went up. And he stood on this one single board to stabilize himself, and he was trying to cut all these branches that were growing over from his neighbor's house. And his son, immediately hearing about this, told him, yeah, don't ever do that again. Because that is an amazingly risky position to put yourself in. And I don't know how you could make that more risky. Maybe you could just do it on one leg. But that is not the right thing to do. So reaching up for high areas, storage areas, cupboards, those are really risky. Stairs increase the risk for falls a lot. Stairs. If you're in a home with stairs, a lot of falls happen on the stairs. So get hand railing. So strategies. So here we go. How do you deal with a fall that happens? So with injury, you need to get help. If you feel a sharp pain other than other aches and pains that you may have, you need to just not move. Move as little as possible. You need to scoot over any way you can scoot. There's the kind of the crab scoot where you kind of scoot your upper body, then you scoot your lower body. There is using your feet to kind of push yourself along the floor on your back. You need to get to a phone if you don't have a cell phone. And then if you don't have a phone or cell phone nearby, you need to get to the front door and then somehow bang on the door to get attention, or open it somehow so you can yell outside. All right? And if you, is the newsletter electronic or is it a physical newsletter, Bob? Both? So I'm going to be doing a write-up for your newsletter, and I will include resources and videos that I found really helpful in explaining this process for you. Yes, Bob.
Real quickly, just a little bit off the point, my brother in particular, there's those alert systems. We've got one for him that also is impact activated. So if he falls and he's unconscious, it still notifies the company.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good. Yes, I've seen these devices before, and they're very, very helpful. So yeah, this is effectively, these are the most important things you need to do when you think there is an injury. All right, any questions about a fall, what to do with a fall with an injury?
About getting up is hard too.
If it's just hard, if just getting up is hard, is that what you're saying? There's no injury?
Yeah, I fell and I on a curb. And I had a hard time getting up.
So this was outside? So outside's a little less risky unless it's in a less public place. Were you around where there was people passing by?
Yeah.
Okay, so if there were not people passing by, you need to figure out where your vehicle is and see if you can get to your vehicle, or just some communication. Like if you ever, hopefully you have reception, you just need to get help if you have an injury. If not, I'll go over that in a moment.
It's like concussion, just as like.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fish oil. Fish oil. It helps heal concussions. It helps heal concussions. All right. Any questions about what to do when you fall with an injury? Okay. All right, so without an injury, which is much more common, and in the home, and if you have stairs, this is very common. So there are certain objects in your environments at home which are your friends, besides your real friends, but the objects. So your chairs, books, and sturdy rectangular objects, and then your own body mechanics, specifically scooting. Okay, so chairs, they're going to give you leverage. Hopefully it's not a rocking chair or a chair with wheels on it, but you have to make sure that the chair is stable. If it's a side table, you can easily turn it upside down, and then you can place a chair on top of it. I'll give you links to videos which go through this in detail. So the chair's no wheels, and it cannot be a rocking chair. There's this really cool technique called the book tower. Who here has a small little library in their home? Like with, about 20, 30 books. So there's this thing called the book tower, and if you can get close to those books, it's a really effective way at elevating yourself. Basically, you put one book underneath one butt cheek, and then you lift up the other one and put a book underneath that one, and then you kind of do this stacking method. And you eventually find yourself elevated so that you can get into a squat position with both hands on your knees and then stand up. All right? So a lot of people have books in their home. Hopefully, if you've fallen in your nearby books, you can do the book tower method. All right? And you kind of realize, well, I haven't read that book in a long time. Or why do I even have this book? And you're like, whose book is this? I have no idea why I have that. All right, so sturdy rectangular objects. If you have some kind of decorative, some people have bookends to keep their books straight up, or if you have some type of speaker, you can put the speaker on its side, and they tend to be sturdy enough where you can sit on it or use it as a block to get yourself up to a couch or up to a chair. So just be creative. Who knows that show MacGyver? Yes? So he used simple everyday objects in order to get himself out of tricky situations. You guys are all going to be MacGyvers. Or people you know, you can educate them about being MacGyvers in their own home and using simple everyday objects in order to elevate yourself up. Okay? So body mechanics. Basically, you want to assess how you've fallen. Are you on your back, your side, or your front? If you're on your back, you want to see if you can get over to your side. This is with a non-injury, so there's no pain. So you want to get over to your side, and you want to see if you can turn over onto your belly. And then you want to get into what's called a bear crawl. Can everyone visualize what a bear crawl is? So you're on all fours, your knees are elevated. Okay? And then you want to scoot your hands towards your knees or towards your legs. And then you're basically in a bent over position. And then if you can squat where your knees are bent and you put your hands on each knee and then you basically raise yourself up. So getting to a bear crawl position is the key here with body mechanics. And it mainly means you need to get over onto your side, then onto your front, and then you get up onto all fours. Okay? So the pictures here are probably key, but I'll include those for the newsletter. All right, so basically we talked about balance and equilibrium. We talked about the mechanisms that are involved with balance. I covered fall risk, and then how to handle a fall in-home, no injury, and in-home with an injury. Are there any questions so far?
How about when you're helping someone that fell?
When you're helping someone that fell, well, they're in a lot better position. The techniques that I just shared with you is if you're by yourself. If you're with someone, so let's say, what was your name? Angie. So let's say you, Angie, are the helper. You're helping someone get up. So in this case, you need to, if you see them on the floor, how do you feel? Are you okay? Do I need to call 911? If that's not an issue, ask them, can you just kind of rock back and forth a little bit? Is there any other pain that's coming up? You need to kind of assist them in doing a body assessment. That's really key. If they're kind of fine, they just kind of can't really get up, then you can tell them you can help them roll over onto their side. This might be a good practice for them to do it on their own if needed. So you would just instruct them for what I told you with a non-injury. You get them to roll over to their side, then onto their front, and then get them into a bear crawl position. Have them walk their hands towards their knees, come into a squat, hands on the knees, push themselves up. All right, if they can do it by themselves, they are totally good to go. If not, then you can guide them over to, or scoot them over to a couch or a stable chair. Okay, and then point out objects in their home that might be helpful to them, like a sturdy rectangular object, a chair, a side table, couch. If the couch has a pull-out section underneath, I don't know how many couches have this, but I saw this in a video that I watched. Had this really neat pull-out section, and it acts as kind of a step to get up to the couch level, which is very easy to get into a standing position from. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I don't know whether it applies to standing still, but I think one technique when you fall, I've fallen twice jogging and once motorcycle.
Wow.
I wasn't with me. Anyway,
Okay.
all 3 times my body instinct was to roll. And I think when you're standing, you fall, you decide you can too. You just hit, you have more chance of bruises and maybe fracture. And I just kind of go and I roll all 3 times.
Yeah.
My injuries weren't.
Yeah, so I don't know, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. He's probably more in my generation. I'm 33, just so you guys, I'm not retired. But there's this guy who was from my generation, and he was kind of not a stunt man, but he was just kind of an unruly guy that got lots of attention. He got his own TV show. And I actually heard him interviewed on a podcast. And he used to do all kinds of weird stunts in neighborhoods and everything, and they would film him, and it would be funny and everything. And I heard him interviewed, actually. He was trained in circus acts. And he was telling the interviewer, I actually know how to fall. That's why I actually sustained very few injuries in all the shenanigans that I got up to. Like, jumping off of buildings, 2-story buildings, onto mattresses, or, jumping from cars, jumping from motorcycles, skateboarding stunts. He was trained how to fall, and that's one of the things that he learned to do, is to roll. Rolling was very important in how to avoid an injury when you're falling. So it's not like if you brace yourself, like I did a lot of snowboarding. One of the things they told you never to do when you fall in a snowboarding accident is to break your fall with your hands. One of the most common injuries with snowboarders is you break the wrist. So they tell you to bring yourself into a ball. And then you'll be able to sustain the impact much better, and you won't have as many injuries. So rolling is actually very good. And instinctually, that's good for you. I don't know how much of an actual instinct it is to roll, but I mean, maybe it is. So what was your name? John. Thanks for bringing up that, John. Any other questions? No? Okay. All right, so let's get back together in our partners. And I want to see if you remember your partner's answers. All right. How did you guys do? You remember your partner's answer?
Somewhat.
Somewhat? Okay. Did your partner's answer make you dizzy? All right. Who got 100%? Remember your partner's answers? All right. 25% of you? All right. So hopefully your confidence with your balance, maybe it changed a little, maybe it didn't. Number 3. So I didn't just add that as a random question. I've been doing presentations this whole week in my communities on meditation. And as I've looked more into it, it's actually probably a very good tool for improving your balance. Because the main mechanism of improvement in the body with meditation is your sensory awareness. And then our proprioception is 70% of our balance. So meditation actually improves your proprioception a lot. So just a thought. And it doesn't have to be meditation. It could be quiet contemplation or just feeling your body. Yes? Did you have a question? No? Okay. All right, so goal formula here. So according to cognitive behavioral therapy, psychology, there's a way to help take action in more effective ways. This is my formula for you. It's the simplest one I could find. So you get to create a goal, you create a next step, and then you write it down. If you have something, if you want to create a goal right now, you can. I gave you a bunch of information, and remembering this information improves when you actually make it actionable. And remembering that actionable information actually improves your recollection of it even more when you write it down. All right, so I encourage you to write something down. This is my sample goal for you to take home, if you would like. Your goal is to understand how to act in the event of a fall, either for yourself or a loved one, or someone you may know that might be at risk. Your next step is to identify a place, or for you or for the other person, to practice your fall recovery. And it's just like practicing for an earthquake. You know, we know it. We know the drill. We hear the alarm, we run outside, and we go crazy. No, of course not. You go out to the field, you stay calm, and you say hi to the people you probably never talk to, even though you work next to them. Just kidding. So write it down. That's the key part. If this is your goal, that's fine. Or if you can come up with another goal, it's whatever you want. You can even come up with a goal for brain nutrition. Someone asked about 5 things you can eat for the brain. You can write a goal related to that. But this is my formula for you into taking action. So resources. I will be doing a write-up for you for your newsletter. Check those videos out. They're for you to watch and to increase your awareness about falling. And then I have my newsletter as well. There's a sign-up clipboard there if you'd like to put your email down. And I've just sent out a newsletter about chocolate. Before that, I talked about stress. Before that, I talked about water in the brain. So you can get nutrition information if you like. I am available for speaking. If you know of a community that you would like me to speak to, I'm available. That's my phone number. My email's there. I'd probably give my information to be put out in the newsletter as well. You can visit us online, wholebrainhealth.org. Of course, afterwards, when we're kind of wrapping up, you can come talk to me. I can give you more information. And yeah, you can see what we have at our website. I have an email newsletter. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. Well, we are on YouTube. We are on Facebook. And then now it's time for a joke. I'll tell you when to laugh. Don't worry. Yeah, laugh right now. Okay, John overheard his wife on a call and said to her, "Hello, dear. What was it that the bank said? Do you have an outstanding balance?" "Oh no, that was Janet from my yoga class. Apparently I'm really good at standing on one leg." You can laugh now. Outstanding balance. Okay, ha 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 ha. Anyways, that's it. Thank you so much. And I look forward to coming back next time. And if you want a brain chocolate, I have brain chocolates.